Hello, hi, my name is Jaquavius Render. I currently attend Excelsior College, and as an assignment, I will be discussing Linux operating systems. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about Linux. So, what is Linux? Linux is an operating system that is an open source system that is that is modeled on Unix. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, but it's modeled on Unix. So, Linux was released about, let's say, 26 years ago. When Linux was released, it broke down a lot of walls and barriers. And when there's no walls and barriers, you might as well not have any gates, right? Sorry, Bill Gates. That's a joke for you. So, you might as well not have any gates. So, with that being said, we're going to discuss a couple things in this video. We're going to discuss uh, the use, maintain, security, and things of that sort. So, we're going to do a Did You Know? Did you know that Linux is popular for its security and stability? Did you know that Linux is used on Android based devices? Did you know that Linux is more lightweight and less resource heavy than Windows systems? Did you know that Linux is great for fast and high efficiency use? Did you know that there is a sharp learning curve if you have never used Linux before? And it does require some technical knowledge if you have not used it before. Did you know that the software goes through a package manager for installation purposes? Did you know that you can change any part of Linux to fit the user's needs? So just to let you know, there are different Linux operating systems. I'm going to name a few, and my apologies if I mispronounce them. Like I stated, Android, we have Arch Linux, Debian, Kubuntu, Mandriva, PC Linux OS, Red Hat Linux, Kali Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, and Slackware. Those are just some to name. So each each Linux operating system uh, has their own capabilities. So before installing the actual software onto your workstation, into your computer or your workstation at work or whatever you decide to use, I advise to test it on the virtual machine first. That way you can test it to see the capabilities, what it can do, what it cannot do. So in order to install it on the virtual machine, first you have to use a virtual player. And I'm going to name off some virtual players for just so you can know. So if you want to try VMware, we have VirtualBox, we have QEMU, and we have Parallels. All of those systems are compatible in order to use your Linux ISO files or your Linux virtual machine. And I just said ISO file because that's just like the virtual machine, the basic virtual machine image that you download in order to install. So as far as use, like I stated before, uh, as far you have to have some kind of technical knowledge because it requires you to know some commands and how to use it, especially like when it comes to the IP tables and just the command prompt period. As far as maintain, it's really easy to maintain once you get a grasp of the system and how it's used. I know we use it currently in my job because I'm currently in the U.S. Navy and I'm an IT, and we use it, and it's pretty easy to maintain, especially when running updates. We usually run like type in like yum update in the command prompt, and well on the Linux it shows it's a terminal, so you would have to click on terminal. But if you type in the terminal, Yum Update usually updates the system. And as far as security, so we talked about installation, we talked about use, we talked about maintain, then we're talking about security. So security-wise, Linux is more secure than Windows. The reason why I say that is because, for one, generally on Windows, you generally give users administrative privileges, sometimes by accident without you even know that you're doing it. On Linux, in Linux, you have to actually configure the user's permissions for specific user groups. Um, Another reason why it's more secure is because the Zex Shield is enabled in kernel to prevent security breaches through software. SE Linux provides a mandatory access control architecture. So let's think of this as like role-based access, just like what I was discussing earlier about the permissions. And then we have to look at the IP tables because they're set up to because they're used to set up, maintain, and inspect tables and IP packet filters. So all of those things is pretty much increasing security for Linux stations. So just to close out, I'm just going to close out by letting you guys know that although this is a short video, if you want to get more knowledge about the Linux system, there is a certification. This is my certification right here. It's called Linux Plus certification, and I did this through CompTIA. And there's also another certification that you can also get. It's called LPIC1. This is another certification that I got for Linux. So this is to show that I am Linux certified. So it's really good to go and take those courses if you plan on using it and you just want to learn more about it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Just let us know, let me know what you think about it. And just remember, there's no gates here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.